My name's Jonathan. You might know me from Nostalgia Unboxed, and I'm here to tell you that your childhood was trash if you never watched Aliens.
Welcome to Your Childhood Was Trash, the podcast where we explore the pop culture touchstones that shaped our guests' childhoods. From movies and TV shows to video games and toys, we'll cover it all. My name's Mike, and I'm here with my co-host Nick. And in every episode, we're joined by a special guest who shares their favorite childhood property with us and discusses how it influenced their life. I'll tell you what though, it's gonna be hard for me not to just be like jealous of that Ryu figure behind you the whole time.
Yeah,
because I'm waiting for mine.
That was purely thanks to friends, man, and the collectors helping collectors community on Twitter.
That's a beautiful figure. I can't wait. I got it pre-ordered on Big Bad, but I want it now.
I know. Well, that's how not later. I was exactly the same way, and I was like, okay, everybody's getting them now. And as a channel that needs to review these things, like the last thing I need is to like a month or two late.
Yeah, but you know what? It's if you got a good following, that's all that matters. Because I'll be honest, I don't collect half the shit you review, but I watch all your reviews because they're entertaining, they're fun.
Well, thank you. That's the goal. I'll be honest. As far as creating stuff, I don't want it to matter what's in front of me. And I've had some comments in the past that have been exactly what you just said, and I'm like, okay, all right, so I'm getting there, but I still need to. I only have like 4,400 subs, so I need to get all those people that don't know me yet, right? So I still need the new stuff at least for the next year, probably, to like really get the following, and then people go, oh my god, this is hopefully good.
It does help, but that's like because I have two NECA figures, the original Michelangelo, 6-inch, and then Alf. That's it. Nice. And 90% of your channel's NECA and little tiny, I don't even know how to pronounce that anime. Nasesco.
Oh, Nausicaa.
Nausicaa.
Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that when I was a kid. But
it's right here on the shelf. It's there at the glider. That was one of my most recent reviews.
Nice.
It's really tiny. Sadly tiny. So the channel has been kind of overwhelming amounts of turtle fans. So it's kind of just a turtle channel right now, and I'm like, but I want to do other stuff. Gotta give the people what they want.
But what if they release another Turtles figure?
Oh, they constantly. They're already hitting target distribution centers, and it's like, oh my god. But so that even some of my artwork, I just did this
that's
the
beautiful.
holographic one or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's like
little metalhead.
Does he have a drill hand?
Yeah. Yeah, and the at least the NECA figure had it by default, so I used it as inspiration.
Cool.
But yeah.
Even I don't remember that from the show.
He's got normal hands, but I guess when he's I just remember the toy version of him.
Yep.
So I have a whole video that's comparing the NECA from the cartoon and then Super 7 from the Playmate style. And I thought for sure that I'd like the Playmates, but nope.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I got Michelangelo. I keep my stuff. I try to save money, right?
Yeah.
So I got like Michelangelo, and then I got the first Lion-O, but then they came out with the toy version, and I'm like, shit. So now I upgraded to that. And they look great standing on my shelf in a static position.
Right.
But then I touch them, and I'm like, why the fuck won't you move the way I want you to?
Yeah.
Like, it's 2023. Why can't you just do simple things?
I just... Super 7 blows my mind. They miss the mark so often, and it's just like, if you would have just done this, it would have hit it.
Yeah.
If you would have just done that, like just fixed joints or just paint a little bit more or black outlines or something.
Yeah. You mentioned that a lot, which it makes the simplest things pop, like you said with the Simpsons figures. Yeah. The little black outline around the mouth or something simple like that would completely change it. And if I'm paying $55+ for a figure, I don't want to paint it. Like, I want to open it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't want to screw it up because they can't do a line correctly.
Yeah,
I bought a paint marker to try it out, but I'm still iffy.
Yeah, I would be for that price. Especially because I know me, I'd try and like wipe it off, and I'd like ruin the rest of the figure and be like, all right, great.
Let me try
now
paint thinner.
Yeah. Now I got a Moe that has like skin blotches. Great,
Yeah.
great.
It's
But
gonna
I mean,
be
that's
an
half the
episode
thing.
where he gets a rash or something.
I got excited when they with the Silverhawks, because I'm like, oh, a 6-inch Silverhawks figure, 7-inch, put him on my shelf. He'll look great with the other, Lionel, Michelangelo, Origins, He-Man. And then I saw the original pictures. I'm like, I'm gonna hold off, and I'm glad I did, because that thing actually looks like trash.
Oh God,
that's not tongue in cheek like this podcast. That thing's actually trash because it's matte gray. And I get they're like, oh, it's supposed to be the cartoon, but no one wants that. Everyone wants pearlescent, shiny, because that's what they were trying to portray in the cartoon, which they couldn't because it was 2D format.
Right, and I think, if I recall correctly, that the old toy was shiny, right?
Yeah, they're vac metal.
Yeah, so why wouldn't they do that? If that's kind of their whole jam, is to like copy.
Yeah, I think they wanted to release version 2 later down the road, so they get your money twice. But
exactly
rumor has it that's not going to happen.
Oh, it's just the line's probably not doing well enough, or
I heard they lost the license.
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like that's going to keep happening with them.
Yeah. But
what are you going to do?
Hand it to NECA. Let them do it.
Yeah. I did lie a little bit. I forgot. I do have 2 of the NECA gargoyle figures. I only got Hudson and Bronx because those are my 2 favorites, and I just want the draped wings for Hudson, and I'll be happy. I'm not a completist, thank God, because
Bronx is the dog, right?
Yeah.
So you got wings you don't need?
Yeah, I got Goliath's wings that I don't want.
So stupid.
If anyone wants them, I'll let them go for like $10, $15, whatever.
Maybe you can swap out with the other ones you want.
Yeah, which is heartbreaking. They should have just offered like on the NECA store exclusive, like, hey, buy the wings for $20, and I'd be happy with that. Half the thing is it's not.
Problem is NECA charges $15 for shipping, regardless of what it is.
Oh yeah, okay.
So they'd be
Big bad toy store. $4 flat rate shipping. Because for me, half the thing is it's not the money. I don't like extra crap laying around. I don't like extra stuff in a tote or in a bag that just sits around, and then I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to sell it.
I totally understand that. Yeah, it's like ultimately the reason why I keep some of these boxes is just like the accessories are just kind of bouncing around in them.
It's easier to contain.
Yeah. It's like I'm an out-of-box collector, and I don't really need boxes, but all these accessories, I'm like, well, I guess I'll just keep the boxes.
I did that for a while, and then it took up a lot of space. And then I just was like, oh, Ziploc bags work just as good. Take up a third of the space, so we'll do that.
Smart man.
So I'll be honest. Usually our tangents and rants happen towards the end of the episode. There's someone in the middle, never at the beginning. Aliens, man. What's it about aliens that got you hooked? Like,
so it's funny. The week before Mother's Day, my mom came into town, and I sat her down, and I did kind of a documentary style thing and just recorded her just talking about stuff, just her memories. Oh, what was it like growing up with your sisters and this and that, and asking her for just different random memories. And one of the memories that I have from a kid, and we kind of talked about it, was that I got to stay with a cousin one time. She's older. She's actually a toy collector. And like the entire house was full of toys. And this is like prime Ninja Turtle age. So I'm just like, I'm like sweating and drooling because I can't touch any of them. And they're everywhere. And there's boxes. And there's a whole room of boxes and stuff, which I would love to experience again. But my brother and I were hanging out with her all day for, I don't remember the reason, but Aliens. She had put that on VHS, and that was the first time I ever saw it. And this is very, very young. I don't know age-wise, but early 90s, late 80s. And it was just like, it just left a massive impression in my brain that anytime it would come on, whether it was like, on USA or something like that, streaming on DirecTV or something, I had to watch it. And I am really interested in finding out a little bit more about the the turret scene with the, like the theatrical release didn't have the turrets in it, but I could have sworn that the versions that I'd always seen had that, and I don't know if hers did, but my child brain thinks that was the case. So I'm really interested if back then, early 90s, there was like a VHS like director's cut or something. But anyway,
yeah, it could have been.
There's just a lot of VHSs in a lot of different versions.
Yeah,
maybe it was a beta. Did they have beta?
I don't know. It could have been Laserdisc. But yeah, that just it's just stuck, and I've loved it ever since. Honestly, that and the Predator franchise for a few years. Predator was like that was my jam, and then I slowly, as I got older, just got back into the Alien franchise and just appreciate so much, especially out of the sequel.
Alien's a little more sophisticated than Predator.
Yeah.
Predator's kind of just shoot 'em up, and Alien definitely has some good like undertones and story like driven behind it. I mean, how many movies did they come out with at this point? There's like 5?
6?
Probably
5 or 6?
Too many.
It's probably too many.
Yeah.
Alien.
You got Alien, Aliens, Alien 3. There's Resurrection. Then you have Covenant,
Prometheus, and then Covenant.
6, I guess. Plus whatever they're making for Hulu right now.
Yeah, and then there was Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't talk about that. Talk about a movie that destroyed me because it was 2 franchises that I love so much. But I knew going into it, it's like, I was reading forums and stuff back then. I was watching the trailer multiple times. And when I went to go see it, as I was walking in, I was like, I know it's not going to be good. I know this is not. Don't get your hopes up. And then I left just still like worse.
Oh, jeez. So it's like, you ever seen the movie Fanboys?
I'm sure that I have.
Where the guy's dying of cancer and his friends decide to sneak him into Skywalker Ranch to watch episode 1 months before it comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
And they finally make it, and they sit in the theater, and they stop, and they look at each other like, what if this sucks? And then cut to credits.
My God, I can't have
So that's pretty much your experience with AVP.
Yes, minus the cancer.
Minus, thank God. Thank God. Because then we wouldn't have choice content to watch on YouTube.
But yes, Aliens as a film, I think is just it's a solid piece. The director's cut is definitely better. I mean, the turret scene, there's a couple other pieces that I couldn't tell you that were added in or not. But the turrets, I think that's such a huge moment in that movie that really just kind of puts the impact of like how dangerous this scenario is. I just don't understand. Like cutting that out doesn't hurt the pacing of the film. It's a weird choice.
Yeah, I wonder how much they actually cut out for the theatrical release.
Yeah, I don't know. But for being the guest to talk about that movie specifically, I should have a lot more details. So this is always going to be fun. I should have started this thing off with like, I'm Jonathan from Nostalgia Box, and your childhood was trash if you haven't seen Aliens, but don't count on me to tell you all the details.
No. Don't worry. There's a sequel. It's called Jonathan Resurrection.
Oh no!
Tell us, you take all the questions we still have, and you go figure them out, and then you come back and we talk about it.
All right. Well, if Winona Ryder is going to join us, then I'm definitely coming back. It's the only good thing about Resurrection, even though it didn't help the movie.
So that's even more than I remember of Resurrection, to be honest.
Ron Perlman.
Okay.
That's you don't remember that either? Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't.
Sigourney Weaver.
So I mean, yeah, obviously.
It's not an alien movie without her.
I mean, Ghostbusters? Yeah, no, and my thing, Aliens are too huge on my book. I think when I was younger, like you, I gravitated to Aliens. The second one because more action. It was paced a little bit better for a younger child. And I was a huge G.I. Joe kid. So Space Marines, hell yeah. Nice. Whereas obviously Alien, a lot slower paced, but as an adult, I appreciate it more. I try and cycle through all these old movies once in a while. And I think I watched that maybe a couple months ago, start to finish. And it just, I looked at it and I was like, I did not appreciate this as much like 5-10 years ago. But I watch it now and I'm like, this is fantastic.
I didn't appreciate it the first time I saw it. Like the first time I actually was introduced to the whole thing, my buddy was watching it. He watched all this old weird stuff, and I'm talking like early 90s, right? So there were times where I walked over and he was watching classic Doctor Who on PBS, right? And I'm like, what are you watching, man? And then one time it was Aliens, and I was like, what's this? This is better than classic Who. It wasn't classic Doctor Who, but I was like, this is better than that Doctor Who thing that you watch. So I stepped into the middle of the movie.
Hey, any part of that movie is a good place to step in.
Right.
As long as you don't step in a nest of a face hugger.
I guess that.
Yeah, it's interesting though. So the first film obviously had a lower budget, right? I mean, it was like new and all that. But yeah, you said the pacing, it's definitely more of like a horror film, right? It's just this one thing is hunting them all down. And then the sequel is very much an action. And that's kind of what I guess that's the James Cameron touch, right? Is he's just going to go hard into the action side of things because I would say the Terminator 2 was substantially more action than the first one.
Yeah.
And maybe if you want to get weird, the Avatar 2 had more action than the first one. Because I think it does. It's pretty crazy.
I've not seen that one yet. That'll be an at home on demand.
Did it drop today on Disney Plus or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. That's one of those movies that I think people will enjoy it in 2 dimensions. Yeah. But I'm glad that I saw it in 3D because it was definitely next level 3D experience. And I don't think I'm going to get that same feeling at all. Obviously, the 3D element's gone at home unless you have a 3D TV and support and all that. But there was something about that with just like when they go into the water and there's particles and fish and all this stuff floating around, like just the particle detail floating dirt and debris. And then when it would rain or sprinkle, I'd have this kind of subconscious reaction of wanting to like block myself from rain.
Oh, nice.
Crazy.
So gotcha. That's good.
Yeah. And so any of the weird story choices were forgiven when I was reminded about how incredible it looked, which was a lot of the same with the first movie. It was like, it looks great. That's Pocahontas in space.
And you were able to do the 3D with glasses and everything, or are those props?
Yeah, there's no glass in these. That's my favorite Ghostbusters with the female cast with Chris Hemsworth. He just puts his finger in and scratches. Oh, they just kept getting smudgy, so I took them out.
It was good.
Yeah, I still enjoy that movie. But no, I just have to go and double glasses, unfortunately.
See, I can't. When I try to do 3D, I just get headaches. Like my eyes start to like go cross-eyed, and then that like makes me want to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah,
it doesn't do that to me. I just like the 3D effect feels lost. Like I've tried to watch enough movies in 3D where it's just like it's supposed to come straight at you, and I'm like, that's I think I was supposed to dodge at that. I think it was supposed to come at me. But
yeah, this movie avoided that at all costs, I would say. It purely was from the mind of James Cameron saying that I want people to experience this world. I want them to be immersed in this world versus, oh, it's 3D. We can throw stuff at the screen and do all kinds of silly gimmicky stuff. This was just like, after 10 minutes of it, you forget that it's 3D. And the only sections of the movie that felt weird were when humans were interacting with the Na'vi. Because you had this 60 frame rate, and it looks great when it's all CG. But I'm sure you've seen, like, on TVs when you're, like, in Best Buy or something, and then you're watching a TV show, and you're like, ugh. That's unsettling. Why? Because the frame rate's so high.
Why are they moving like that?
Yeah.
Everything looks like it's a soap opera. Why?
Yeah. So it's essentially that. Every time a human would come in, you're like, oh. But then it goes back to all just CG, and it's just like, oh my God, this is, Anyway, not good for you. You'd be asleep.
I mean, I did see a 3D movie or two before, but I only could get like 20 minutes in before I was just gone because like my eyes, I just couldn't. You know, I'd sit there and like, and go. You know, like, and that gave me an extra like 10 minutes, but that was about it. And for that price, I don't. No bueno. No bueno.
Now imagine the Xenomorphs in 3D. This is...
Yeah, that's like the they made that AR game or VR game for what was it called? In Utero or something.
Huh.
And it was like
I
think it was a Covenant accompanying piece for AR only or VR. I keep saying AR, but it got that stupid Apple stuff on my brain.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, it was like a virtual reality game. Yeah. Which, speaking of aliens and games, and they did a VR version, I think, of Isolation. Now, is that something you boys would get into? Alien Isolation?
No, I've never heard of it. It's a video game?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
If you're not much of a gamer, then okay, I'll forgive you.
I was gamer, until I had kids.
It was probably like 2016 or something. So, and then they made.
So I have no excuse. Okay.
No excuse. Yeah, pretty much. Best alien game in decades. Got like Game of the Year or something, maybe.
I remember it. I never played it. But talk more about it. I'll live vicariously through your experiences.
But I don't want to talk about it.
I might be lost on the name, but I did play one where you could be something else. You could play as the alien, you could play as a space marine, and you could play as like a predator. I think I played that game.
Right. Yeah. That would have been like Xbox 360.
AVP, right?
Yeah. Great game though. Had its misses, but it was good overall. Now, so Alien Isolation, it's a first-person game, but it's a challenge game. You have to craft stuff. You're playing Ellen Ripley's daughter, but it's very much the feeling of the first Alien movie. So you have one giant alien that's like hunting you down on this giant space station, and it's just super scary and creepy, and you have to be really quiet. And they have these modes that you could turn on, so you could have your microphone and your headset, and if you made noises in the house, like you were talking, there's a loud bang or something, the alien would hear that through your microphone and then come towards you.
That's cool.
And it was also unforgiving in the sense that as you get to a save station, you walk up to it and there's an animation where you put this card in and then you like push buttons. The alien could still kill you while you're in that animation. So you could be like, oh, I finally got to this point, and then dead.
That's not fair.
I'm not going to lie. Scary. That's pretty ballsy there.
It is. It's scary, though. So if you don't do well with that kind of stuff where you're just like essentially alone being hunted, yeah.
No, that does sound fun.
It sounds like a Saturday night for me, being alone and hunted. It sounds cool. I mean, I used to play, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Fatal Frame, all those games. So I mean, that sounds like it's that to the extreme.
Yeah, yeah. And at this point,
aspect,
I'm sure you could get it at a really fair price, just based on the age now. So I would highly recommend it. But yeah, it won awards and stuff. It's definitely good.
Yeah, I wonder why I never heard of it. It sounds badass.
Aliens Fire Team.
What about it?
Aliens Fire Team. That came out in the last year or so, maybe the last 2 years. But that is a multiplayer. You can have up to 3 people, and it's definitely more in vibe with what the topic of the show is supposed to be. That I took us off track with aliens. So if you like to be a G.I. Joe in space, you like to have fun with friends, you're not as scared. You get to do 3-player co-op. There's multiple missions. It's super cheap too, because it wasn't like a massive release or a massive studio. But dude, that is such a fantastic game. And you get all the weapons and stuff that you know from the movie, but also all kinds of stuff from different like lore, I guess, of the Aliens franchise. So stuff that they talk about in the movie, but you never see. Yeah, it's definitely worth playing though.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't expect an Alien game to be held as like a great game, let alone 3. Like that's pretty. That's pretty. It's a shocker, but it's a badass shock.
You obviously never played Alien versus Predator on Super Nintendo.
The side scroller beat 'em up.
Yes, that game was so good, way better than it should have been.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got this guy that kind of looks like Dutch. It's like a knockoff Dutch.
Yep.
Oh jeez.
I
mean, you want to talk about knockoff Dutch? You ever collect any of the toys as a kid?
I had a couple Aliens figures that I can remember, and I think it really came down to this like 2-pack of an Alien with a Predator. Because when I recently researched it to try to find who made that old Predator figure I had, it was released in a 2-pack. So I think that's ultimately how I had an Alien figure. But that would have been probably it, honestly, on those toys. I had Terminator, if we're getting as far as a Dutch-like thing.
Which is still wild, right? You hear like, the shows about it. It might have been on like the Toys That Made Us, something like that. But the fact that we had like RoboCop, Terminator, Alien toys, like these are rated R movies. We're gonna market these to our demographic that can't watch the movie. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make thousands of dollars.
It's insane. Of course, I'm sure there were adult collectors at the time, but that is definitely children's toys, and it is insane how many rated R things got made back then for kids. And I was thinking recently, when I would go to Kmart as a kid to get clothing,
obviously,
they had Mortal Kombat shirts.
Yeah. Well, those are Super Nintendo shirts, unless you knew the blood code, you're safe.
That's right. Or whenever we got it, and I think one of the other moms, because we were borrowing it from a friend or something, or maybe we rented it, I don't recall, but a mom was like...
Blockbuster would rent to anybody.
Yeah. A mom, we had, I think it was Hollywood Video? Network Video. It was just a local one. And they had a beaded curtain room. But one of the other moms at our Taekwondo class told our mom that there's blood in it. So we're starting to play, and she comes in, and she's like, there's blood in it. And we're like, no, look, it's just the spit or sweat or whatever. And then she leaves, and we enter the code and started playing with the blood. That's mom safe mode.
That's what you do. There was a game like that came out on PlayStation called it featured the Wu-Tang Clan, where there was a blood code that you put in. You only had to enter it the one time, and then once you saved the file with it, you didn't have to enter it again. But there was like a code in the back of the instruction manual that you had to enter in order for you to start seeing blood. But it was really just a reskinned version of the game Thrill Kill. That game that was too bloody to be in America.
No, that's amazing though.
So I do apologize. My headset cut out for a minute. I'm back now. I can hear you again.
Welcome back.
Sweet. That's okay.
I missed all the good stuff. I'm sure.
You did. We had everything
Wu-Tang
aliens related.
Nice. And now we're on a blood sport.
No, that's
what I thought.
But no, like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to remember a lot of the aliens toys, and I don't like. I think that was one of those. It's like a gap in my memory of those toys. But
they made, I think it's just for the sequel, because I remember I didn't have any, but I remember they made the Space Marines and all that. They made a bunch of those, and obviously the alien figures. And I had one. I have no idea what the guy's name was, but when I was a kid, I loved anything with like removable helmets and stuff like that, like Mask and the G.I. Joes had that stuff. And it was a redheaded guy that had like an alien like jumpsuit on, and you could attach like an alien head to him, and arms and a backpack and like boots, and you could turn him into a xenomorph. And that's the only one I had. I loved them.
That would be a huge toy for me as a kid too. Like just that whole transformation concept.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't remember the name, but yeah, he was just 5 points figure.
We were about our accessories as kids. Like, think about how many accessories came with like literally every action figure. They were like, oh, here's a dozen things, and they're gone.
Well, that and the action features. Action features ruled the 80s and 90s.
Oh man, yeah, squeeze the legs, pull the triggers, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't have that anymore.
The Donatello, the basketball version of Donatello, I'll never forget. It was like still like all he was good for was throwing the basketball. He couldn't pose any other way. His arms were permanently locked, and he had that like peg in his hand. But I freaking love that thing so much.
The ball would always get stuck in mine. Like he would just be like this, and the ball would still be in his hand. I'm like, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I never had anything to put the basketball hoop on because they had that like little slot or whatever to put it onto something. I'm like, what was it supposed to be?
His card back.
Oh, well, that was gone.
Supposed. Yeah. Oh, well, I figured that out years later, right? Because you cut out the little bios of the back of the card, and I had those, and I would clip it onto that, and I'm like, oh, this fits perfectly. Like,
dang, I'm such a dumb kid.
I think we all were.
We did. We ripped the backing off every once in a while. We cut out that back thing, but most of that was trash. So not even recycled. It was just straight trash.
I definitely. I mean, I'm dumb because I never really thought to put it on the back of the card, but I recall having a stack of the card backs at some point. And I have a home movie that my mom brought me a few weeks ago from 1992, opening up stuff, and it's just like all these Ninja Turtle things that were coming in, and just me like ripping them open like a monster, man. Trying to, whatever it took to get them out. Oh, it's zip tied or screwed in or something to the back. I don't care. I'm going to rip it out. I got to get this thing out of there. There's a whole lot of mom just like reaching over to help. But yeah, boxes did not survive.
No. And they shouldn't. Realistically, they shouldn't. Even now as an adult, if I go back and I buy something from my childhood, I don't want it in a box. I want it out. I want it like used. I want it to feel like it's mine when I was a kid, right? And
right.
Care about box. So the box is trash, literally trash.
That's your sister podcast.
Yes, the box.
That box is trash, and then you just talk about figures.
That's actually our unboxing specials. Like,
yeah, just 5 minutes of us throwing out boxes. Throwing out.
See, I don't think I could ever do that because I open stuff right away. I'm not one of those people where I can't have like a stack of stuff just waiting. I'm like, nah, I just got this. It's gonna get open right now, and I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. That sounds like somebody that has which you kind of already said at the beginning, but you are very specific about what you decide to collect, right?
Yeah.
So you only have Michelangelo. You don't have the other brothers.
Yeah. So my thing is Transformers is my wheelhouse, and then it's G.I. Joe. But then I love everything else from the 80s and 90s. So I have a shelf over there that's got a representation of every property that kind of from my childhood that I enjoy. Like, I got the Diamond Select Tron figure, which is a piece of crap. It's a Tron representation, that's where I put, the NECA Alfs up there, Lion-O, Michelangelo. So I only need one of each. And, me being named Mike when I was a kid, my parents got me every single Michelangelo that went on a peg.
That's amazing.
So it's like, all right, I'm going to pick my favorite of each property and buy that. So, very, very picky, and it's a blessing because I'm not like some people that have to have them all and they go crazy and pour and the room, space.
Space is definitely a big reason I think why I don't get some of the things that I get. I wouldn't have as much as I did if it wasn't for the channel at the same time. Like, I'd be even more picky.
Yeah.
I say it all the time that if I had to get rid of everything, I would just keep the 90s movie Turtles and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
Just the four brothers, get rid of everything else. I'll be happy forever, because no matter what I get, no matter how excited I get about something and bring it in and review it, check it out, decide, oh, well, this was a friend that I got to review it and now I send it away, but I love it so much I'm going to buy my own.
Yeah.
I still go back to the movie ones and I'm like, good God, they just did it right. Like, it just is impressive every time.
I only, like I said, I only got one, and I only have one critique about it. I wish it felt like the old 90s movie Turtles. like soft rubbery feel.
I don't think that they really did. Do you have one?
From the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like their head, like the torso was hard plastic, but the arms, legs, and head were all like soft, like not rubber, but soft plastic. That was their action feature. Like you can like bend them and stuff. And I wish NECA found a way to make their movie turtles feel like that, but they look like that, which is just incredible. And it looks like it's literally like movie shelf. Like that's the epitome of collecting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As if it looked like it just popped right off and just sat on my desk, and that's it.
And nothing else compares to that. And I think because they're not human faces, right? They're creature faces, so they can get away with like some slight imperfections. Where if you bring in like an Arnold, you can be like, well, yeah, you're unfortunately Ripley, which is like, as much as I love the movie, the figures are not great at all.
They're not Ghostbuster Plasma series though.
Those are probably better, honestly. But when I first got into collecting, which was August of last year, I was at GalaxyCon. I had a booth. I was selling my art and stuff, and I saw a toy booth, and I was like, I'm going to see if they have the old 90s Ninja Turtles, because Judith Hogue was there, and it was just like all on the brain. I had some Ninja Turtle drawings, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go check. They didn't have any. And the guy's like, oh, but I have these. And like way up on the high shelf, he pulls down the NECA ones. And I was like, oh my God, these are incredible. What? This is just the movie in a box. So that was my first taste of the plastic crack. But I looked up the 90s Turtles. The 90s movie Turtles in my brain from Playmates, the toys, I thought that they were like a soft touch, like a rubbery soft touch, and that they were like super realistic to the movie and all this stuff. But I never had them as a kid. I always wanted them. I cried when I couldn't get one. But yeah, my childhood brain thought they looked like NECA, essentially. And I went back and checked eBay, and I was like, oh my God, these are way off.
The limbs did have that soft touch, but no, they looked terrible.
Yeah.
They looked terrible.
Can't trust my brain.
One thing we gotta, I wouldn't mind getting a petition signed, but NECA needs to release a Donatello head of Donatello laughing, and inside you can see the stunt guy's face, just like in the one frame of the first movie. That would sell like hotcakes. That would be amazing.
Absolutely, people eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
The good thing about the
Kino?
No, he played first movie. He was Leonardo or Raphael, I think.
Yeah, I definitely don't know with the confidence. I couldn't say. But the new movie, or the third movie, is going to be the newest stuff from NECA, right? So they doing Turtles in Time, or whatever the heck the third one's called. I just hate it with a passion. I hate that movie so much.
Yeah.
But they talked about how the fact that they even included the under eye slits from the head sculpts from the movie. So they were like, really makes sure that like big hole is there under the eyes that the actors had to use in the film to see through. So they really pay attention to those details. And so when you look at the figures, and you might be like, oh, that's like a weird kind of like ring around the neck. Like, is that just a mold from the plastic? It's like, no, they just like really paid attention to the movie and made sure to include the weird rubber suit designs.
Which is amazing.
I just love it.
Which is amazing. Like that's what I want. I want, like I said, I would just pause the movie and just take that, put it on my shelf. That's exactly what I want out of everything. And that's not too much to ask, right?
I think, I think that weird head sculpt is definitely a possibility, considering they really like to play in that franchise. But to get us back on topic, because I'm really bad at this, let's see if we can get that in focus. Maybe if I leave.
Looks like a Ninja Turtle, and
come on, do it, camera. It's not gonna happen.
Almost.
Put it on my forehead. So this is based off of a drawing that I did that is 11 by 17 for.
Okay, there you go. I can see it now. Leonardo and Ripley.
But I mixed our little franchises there. So we got our turtles, we got our aliens. We can get back on topic. I promise. And that's
Full
how
circle.
we went all the way to turtles, back to aliens. But I don't have anything else to say about aliens.
So I think aliens specifically, like that movie just starts off creepy, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just silence. There's nothing going on. And you're just around this massive ship that you're like, that's a floating city, or it's a portal to a different universe. Like, I've seen enough movies where that definitely isn't just a mining ship. Like, that's definitely how you get from, something, or it's protecting something. Like, I think I remember the first time I was watching it, I was like, that looks like Castle Grayskull just floating in space. Why? And like the statistics is like it's a 7-person ship. I'm like, what? 7 people run that? That's a small city. Like,
yeah, that is the location. So the Alien Isolation, that is the location that you end up being in, and it is like a massive city. There's all kinds of like refineries and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, you're right. Huh. It's not a 7-person thing. This is
it's
civilization.
Not 7 city.
Yeah,
7 cities. That's how much is in there.
Yeah, that's exactly about right. In that massive ship, it's like throughout the movie, there's not like they don't show all of it. Like even the beginning scene, it's like everything is like in a silo. You're like, I've seen about 1% of this.
Yeah,
we don't have the budget.
We definitely had enough budget to make a big ass plastic toy ship that we filmed to make it look like it's a massive thing in space.
That's about it. And then we have a storage unit down the road that we turn into an airlock.
Right. But that's what it was. And even then, it still holds up to a point because like we talked about it earlier, it's space horror, right? And it makes you feel creeped, right? Like you're uneasy throughout a lot of the movie.
It's a claustrophobic feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you're stuck on a ship with someone's trying to kill you. You can't really get away. There's not too many options.
Just like
you can step outside.
Just like Jason in Space.
Yes. Or Leprechaun in
Space.
Space.
An equally good movie.
No. Freddy vs. Jason or AVP?
Oh God. That I think I would. I don't know the last time I saw Freddy vs. Jason, but I think how like ridiculous the film is. I think I would pick that one because it also doesn't take itself seriously. If I remember correctly, it kind of plays with itself.
Listen, there's been like 8 Nightmare on Elm Street movies. One of them took itself seriously. Then they realized what they had, and they're like, "Let's just fucking go with it."
Yeah.
But they didn't get a sequel. AVP got a sequel.
Freddy vs. Jason again.
Freddy vs. Jason.
That would have been great, though.
Freddy vs. Jason 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we should come up. We should be spend the next 5 minutes. We'll try to figure out a good subtitle for Freddy vs. Jason 2. What would make it good? I don't know enough about the franchise, either of them, to really lock something in. But
the Jasoning.
No,
he's coming for
Freddy
you.
Versus
so you
Jason
could just play
2, Wet Dreams.
That's
I feel like that would be an actual
Dream
subtitle
World and
for
the
Nightmare
Lake.
on Elm Street, though. I
What'd
feel like that'd be an actual.
Huh?
Oh.
John, what'd you say?
Ask him what Mike said. The internet won't let us talk to each other.
Wait, ready? We're gonna do the Spider-Man thing on 3. 1, 2, 3. I said that sounds like an actual subtitle to a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Wet Dream.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just a little bit of sexual stuff to make you like feel a little weird. Why are they doing this?
Kind of happened in Leprechaun in Space.
No Leprechaun in space. No Warwick Davis in space.
It
unless
happened.
It's a teddy bear. I said unless it's a teddy bear. Shut up.
But it happened.
I know.
And then he went to the hood, and then he went back to the hood. That's a whole different episode, though.
Wait, there's a back to the hood?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there's more leprechauns than you know, buddy.
Horror movies in general, like as a collective, have never really been a big thing for me. So, like, I'll watch some stuff. It's weird. I'm just not, like, super into it. So I don't watch the Nightmare stuff. I don't watch Jason or any of the stuff. But randomly, something like the new Halloween will be out, and then a few weeks after it's made its way to TV streaming or something, I'll watch it and be like, all right, that was okay. And
the last one,
the last one was better than the one before that.
Yeah.
Whatever that one was. Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends, right?
Yeah.
Is that the order? Okay. Halloween Ends was better than Kills to me, but I'm also not a big fan of the franchise. Like I don't know. There's a lot of them. There's some Rob Zombie ones or something, I think. But I think people that were bigger fans liked Kills more than Ends. Does that feel right to either of you? Are you guys fans?
I actually haven't seen Ends, so I can't compare the two.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. I'm very behind on movies in 2023.
That's okay.
Also, most of 2022.
Well, that's less okay.
Well, I got a small child. He's Mike? 20 months, so if we put on if we put on a Disney movie, like he's entertained and we're like, all right, we're watching whatever.
Hey, Deadpool's a Disney movie now.
It's true.
It is.
It's true. Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Deadpool are Once Upon a Deadpool.
That's right. I forgot about that. The PG-13 version. What a weird.
Where he kidnaps Fred Savage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. But it's amazing because he redoes the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's brilliant.
We showed the 10-year-old that movie, and then like a year later we showed him Princess Bride. We're like, do you remember this type of setup? And he's like, no, because he's 10, so he doesn't remember anything. He barely remembers that we've seen.
Just let me go watch TikTok again.
Yeah.
No, luckily, like he doesn't have an electronic device to do that.
That you know of.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would have to buy it or something along those lines. Like, otherwise, where are you getting the money, kid? He's got his Xbox, so he plays Minecraft. Like, yeah.
Nice.
Where he could build, aliens.
Jesus. So, I mean, you're not a big
transition,
horror guy.
Right back on the topic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on horror. I love Nightmare on Elm Street, though. I got sucked into that. Freddy's a compelling villain. Definitely a villain. I was going to say, like, anti-hero? No, he's a villain. For me. And then I like campy horror movies like Scream. Is just stupid fun. And then, like Happy Death Day, stupid shit like that. But that makes sense why you like Aliens more than Alien, because it's less horror, more action.
That's probably a good point. Yeah.
Which is probably why, like I said, I lean towards it too.
It's my dumb brain that just wants Fast and Furious moments. Just give me big action. So, wow, look at all the explosions. I like Michael Bay.
That's actually Fast and Furious 11. They're fighting aliens. No.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's it. We need Dom Toretto versus the Xenomorphs. Done. That's how they end the Fast and Furious series.
Yeah. But Dom, you can't drive a car in space.
But what? I can with family.
Yeah, that's right.
He starts beating the alien to death, and he realizes the alien's just trying to like save his kids. And he's like, family, and then like lets him live.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
It's like the Batman versus Superman moment where they're both like, Martha, what did you say? Like,
yeah.
The alien's like,
family. Say his mom's name? God, it bothers me so much. He would have not. They're gonna kill Martha. He would have said, "They're gonna kill my mom."
Yeah.
which I think would have also been enough for Batman to go, wait, what?
How did Batman not know?
Yeah. Does she have a pearl necklace?
Like Batman knows everything. Like that was like the biggest crux for me is like, you know how to stop this man dead in his tracks, and you've done all the research to do that. You don't know his mom's name is Martha?
Some detective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pound sand, Batfleck.
Now, NECA made a Superman versus Alien crossover 2-pack, so we're back on track, baby.
They have, in all fairness, they have done so many crossover toys with Alien. And they have like Xenomorph plushies now.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't understand it, but I'm here for it.
I think so. What I think it really comes down to is if we go back in time, right, back to when Aliens, there was Ripley, and that was it. Like if you were like you wanted a female hero, like that was it.
Well, see, it's definitely harder to think about on the spot, but there was a post. There were a good handful, but I definitely couldn't tell you. I mean, would you want to count Red Sonja? I don't know. Not a good movie. I don't even know.
Another R-rated movie that had toys.
It did, but it wasn't. But it wasn't like
that had to be like 70s, right? Red Sonja.
Well, I think it was like something in the mid-80s.
Ted.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because 1985. Okay, yeah, you're right. It was really, really hard to watch. But an Ernie Reyes Jr. He's like 10 in there or something in that movie. It's
fun story. Crazy. Kino, we're back to Ernie Reyes Jr. And he was Donatello in the first one. I looked it up. That's right. I was right. Mike, you were wrong.
Thank you for locking it in.
No, Corey Feldman was.
He was Corey Feldman. Ernie Reyes was the karate guy. Donatello voice with Corey Feldman. Sorry.
No, Corey Feldman was doing the backflips and stuff.
With all the drugs that guy was on in the time frame, they couldn't get him to do it. Good. I don't know, Corey. If you're listening for whatever reason, I don't know. Like you had a messed up childhood. I know this. You've told about it. That's all I know.
Way to get real, Nicholas. Way to get real.
Yeah.
Apologizing. But yeah.
But do you ever see the behind the scenes of like the making of the Turtle movies? You ever seen those videos?
I feel like probably. Maybe.
What those stunt guys could do in those suits is absolutely ridiculous. The fact they can do like all those flips and the backflips and stuff, like the shells were just full of electronics to run the servos and everything in the face and all that. Mm-hmm. Plus like fans to cool them and all that. Like they definitely didn't get paid enough for what they did. No. And it's just like jaw dropping to see like the stuff they could do in those suits. And those suits in general.
It's really sad anytime there's somebody acting out the character but being voiced over by somebody else, because then the stunt actor or the person in the suit is just forgotten about. And we saw the same thing happen with Michael Bay. And there's one of the guys, I think maybe the guy that played Leonardo, he was doing like podcasts and stuff for a while, talking about his experience on those sets and how they kept promising that, no, you guys are going to be big. This is a big moment for you. And then they just are completely gone from them. There's like nothing to do with them, right? Like you have no idea that there's 4 people acting out all of these scenes. They're just erased because of all the CG and stuff. And then obviously not voicing over the characters. And on top of that, he's like, yeah, there were times where we're on location and the shoot's over. Everybody's packing up. They're leaving. And we're still sitting there. Just the 4 of us. We're just still sitting there. And it's like hours and hours. And he's like calling his agent and just like trying to get some transportation to get out of where they're at so they can get back to the hotel. And it's like hours. They're just sitting there. They're just like essentially abandoned. And that was the first film. And then somehow they get tired tied into doing the second one or whatever. But yeah, it's like those are some horror stories, and
That's
I feel
bad.
really bad anytime. Yeah,
That's
it's like you can at least just have them. I don't know, like also be the voice or something. That'd be great. Like, just
wasn't
give
there
them a
one
little
of
bit.
them that did the voice and the motion capture?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I thought one of them did. There was like one person.
Well, you were right about Donatello, so I do believe you. But I'm gonna guess it's probably not Johnny Knoxville. Wasn't he one of the voices?
I thought it was the dude who did Michelangelo, the guy from Shameless. Forgetting his name.
Townsend Coleman?
No.
The redhead.
I don't remember.
We're so
the only
good
reason
at this.
Sean Gunn is known that he does Rocket is because he's also, he's got a real character he plays.
Well, that and his brother directed him, so.
Right, but when you do a double role, motion capture and live action.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I don't know.
Too,
it's all a bit of a mess because you have. Yeah, Danny Woodburn plays Splinter, and then Tony Shalhoub plays the voice of Splinter, which I didn't know that.
Wait,
Monk.
Oh,
Monk is
no.
Splinter.
What are you looking at? No. What are you looking at?
IMDb.
What movie?
Turtles.
Oh, for the 2014 Turtles.
Michael Bay Turtles 1.
You're not talking about that one. I'm talking about the. I was thinking you're talking about the old ones. I'm like, no, Kevin Cash was Splinter. Elmo was Splinter. Damn it.
Which is just wonderful.
That's crazy when you think about it. Like that, his range. To go from Elmo to Splinter and stuff. Like that blew my mind when I found that out when I was, in my 20s. Was I that old? I don't know.
Good, solid voice actors are always impressing me, and it bums me out whenever just an actor gets to play themselves in something. It's like, oh, this is an on-screen actor, and then we brought them in to be the voice of this character, and it's like, well, that's kind of boring. You got people like Tom Kenny that can do 1,000 voices, and it's like, that's his whole business. And now you're going to get this on-screen guy to just talk like a normal person.
Yeah, listen, you attractive man. Stop taking voice acting gigs away from the ugly people who can't get on camera.
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, too, is... you ever heard of the podcast, I Hear Voices?
No.
So it's Will Friedle and Chrissy Carlson Romano, and they interview voice actors. That's their whole shtick. That's what they do. And they'll interview like casting agents too. And one of the top casting agents in the business, I forget her name, they interviewed her, and she said, "I don't cast voice actors. I cast actors. And whoever is best for the role that I feel is competent enough that can do it is who I'm going to, cast." If they're specifically a voice actor, great. She's pretty much like, I don't need someone that can do a million voices. I need someone that can do the one voice I need the way I need it.
Yeah.
So I get that perspective. But,
Makes
then,
sense.
like you said, Tom Kenny.
It's tough when you have like, Chris Pine's listed as one of the people we were picking for the role. Like that's a little harder than James Schmeagol. Who's that guy? It's like, he's a voice on the Fairly Odd Parents or something. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Which one are you going to pick? The one that you can stamp on the poster and advertise? I mean, that's huge. You don't like. I love Will Arnett. Him as Batman's funny for Lego, but anybody could kind of do that raspy voice, right? I mean, you had Kevin.
The timing too.
Kevin Conroy it's like, you could have just done him. He's perfect. He is Batman, or was, and
no, he is.
But you can't throw his name up on the poster and say, oh, maybe not enough people will know who that is, where they might know Will Arnett or something.
I feel like more people actually might know Kevin Conroy more than Will Arnett. Like Will Arnett's a popular person, but
he was Vern in
TV shows, movies, things that more people are likely to have seen versus Kevin Conroy really just being a voice somewhere. Whereas a lot of people, like my girlfriend, will watch Bob's Burgers and just recently finding out that the voice of Bob is also the voice of this other character. It's like, we've been watching this for how many years? Well, no, just another person on the show. But yes, Archer.
Oh yeah,
John H.
Archer.
What's his name? John.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something. But
he was a can of beans
we don't know
in
that
Wet Hot American Summer. Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah, he was a can of beans in that.
That's right. But yeah, so like that's kind of another example. Like that's a voice that people probably know, but they don't know the name of it. Like I don't even know the name of it. I know he's Archer. I know he's John H.
John Benjamin.
That's it. That's what I said.
Yeah,
I just said that too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, but that's true. Like for me, a lot of it, I'll recognize a voice more than a name. You know, how many times you're watching something and you're like, oh, that's this character or this character, but the name you say it and you're like, who's that guy? You know, it's like Rob Paulson. You can easily identify him when he's doing a voice. You know, he Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. He was the original Donatello, right?
No,
he was the Donatello in the he was Raphael, and he was Donatello in the 2012 series. That's what it was. Yeah, he's just got a very distinct voice. Yeah, and he's in everything. Frank Welker is not the same case. That dude changes his voice to a million different things, and it's like he's Scooby Doo. He also voiced Fred, Megatron, all these voices. It's wild.
Yeah, there's a different talent for sure. I do feel like I can always spot a Tom Kenny voice. SpongeBob, Ice King.
Yeah.
Which character was he on? Rick and Morty. I think he was Mr. Poopy Butthole, or is he somebody else? No, he was Scrunchy or whatever. Scratch the little cat thing.
I didn't see that.
It's like a mangy looking cat, but it's like he's always kind of got that same voice level. He can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
but like you said, there's these other guys that you're just like, oh my god, he seriously did like 4 different characters in this episode. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, that's impressive to me when they could do that.
Jim Cummings is also one of those. He's in like everything from like everything.
Dude, he's Darkwing Duck. He's Winnie the Pooh
and Tigger.
And Tigger. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear the Darkwing and the Tigger. There's like some of that raspiness that's shared between the two of them.
Yeah, and the lisp. Yeah, he was a depressed little bear.
Did you guys watch the scary version of whatever that is? The Winnie Pooh movie?
No.
Oh, the horror movie? Blood and Honey? No.
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't know that that's the kind of stuff where, like, especially if it's extra gory, I'm like, I don't. If it's just like Saw movies, I don't care. It's just gross to be gross. It's not a horror movie.
The first Saw movie was fantastic.
It was.
Did you ever see that one?
Yeah. It wasn't until the very end where I was like, I don't want to watch these anymore.
That was more like a psychological thriller. Then they're like, hey, it's like Nightmare on Elm Street. The first one, they took it seriously. Then afterwards, like, let's just lean into what we got.
Yeah.
And they just went too far with it.
Yep. It seems to happen to a lot of franchises, apparently.
But...
It was better seeing them after usage and the detectives trying to figure out what's going on versus seeing them in action.
Yeah.
The contraptions and stuff. It's like, that's what happened here, but we have to imagine it, versus seeing it. It's like, no, that's no good. No bueno.
I enjoyed the Saw movies. I don't know. But I think I enjoyed them because of how it was always interesting to see how they were going to go next, or where they were going to go next, how they were going to handle things and everything like that. And then they brought in every new movie, they brought in somebody else that you were like, why are you here? To loop back to Alien, we had Costas Mandalore, who stepped into the Saw movies, and he was in Picket Fences with Tom Skerritt. It's like, why are you here?
Whoa, look at that! It's like
someone's got
IMDb. Kevin Bacon.
That's just my brain, dude. Like I can do the weird steppy thing and link people, and it's, I don't know. I
love it.
I have spent in reality, there are times where I've spent way too much time on IMDb, but I've been able to connect those dots since before IMDb. I'm like, oh my God, I used to see them in this thing. And everybody's like, what?
Your brain is IMDb. That's impressive.
It's kind of how it is.
I have a friend that can name, like, you're like, oh, I don't know. He directed, God, what was that? It was like the 6th episode of season 2 of Fargo or something. It was just like a one-off director. He's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? How do you know that? You know, it's like, yeah, it's just a brain.
Some of the eidetic memory or something like that. Jesus.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit above me, but
in the realm of
Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, it blew my mind. It took me years later that I realized that the main character in the first Saw movie is Carrie Elves, who is the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
Wesley, Princess Bride. I was like, oh my God, like that does not look anything like him. Also, the best Robin Hood there was.
Also in Psych.
Also in Psych, yes.
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
No, I said hey Lincoln.
Oh, Blinken, what bloody hell are you doing up there? What are you doing up there, Blinken? Guessing? I guess no one's coming.
I guess no one's coming. Fantastic.
You see, they're fighting at the end. He's carving up the wood pillar.
So perfect.
Oh, that movie's so good. Okay, so I lied. That's my second favorite Robin Hood. My first is the Fox from the Disney one.
Right. Which
has a terrible Super 7 action figure out, reviewed by the one and only Nostalgia Unboxed.
I hate it so much. It's just back in its brown box.
I will pick one up if I can get it for like $20, but definitely not 55 plus worth.
$20, you'll go, yeah, this is a $20 figure, and be like, this is fine. But $55 and having your like years of just being like, oh, this has never existed before. This is so exciting. I can't wait to see this thing. Wow. Oh, and it's just someone pooped in your hand.
Nick, real context thing. He did a review of the Super 7 Robin Hood figure, and he's like ranting about it because it sucks. Like, any video you watch, they're going to tell you it sucks. But he's like, there's something wrong with this. I'm going to contact Super 7 and get a replacement. And then they give him a replacement, and he gets it, and he does another video, and he's like, oh no, there was nothing wrong with it in the first place. It just really sucks. Oh. It was so good. It was so good.
Aww. And Robin Hood's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, that
is my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah, I was super stoked for that. And yeah, he couldn't hold his bow. It just like wouldn't go into the hand. Like the hand was just too tight, and it was a really hard plastic. And when I got the replacement, I'm like, okay, these are the things that were a problem with the first one. Let's see what happens in the second one. And it still took a lot of effort, but I could get him to hold the bow. And then people in the comments were like, oh yeah, if you take a hairdryer to the hand, you could like soften the plastic and get it. And I was like, oh, shouldn't have to, obviously.
Why do I have to save me a lot of time and trouble for it to hold its thing?
No, I agree. It's like, it's nice to have those solutions, especially if if that was the only problem I had with the other one. It was like, okay, I'll just keep it and just whatever. But yeah, I just contacted them because I hated everything about it and told them all the problems. Like, he can't stand on his own. He's got all these problems, and they're like, oh, well, that doesn't sound right. We have to wait for them to show up to our stockpile for us to access, because they came directly from Entertainment Earth or whatever. So we get ours, we'll check it out. And if it seems like, inconsistent, we'll send you another one. Obviously, at some point, they just decided to send me another one. because all the problems were still there. It's like, it sounds about right, but we'll send you another one and just try to play good faith, I guess. But they wanted me to send the other one back in the email, but then yeah, I guess. Well, they're 100% misprints. Super 7 knocks off their own stuff, and that's why they're not as good. They sell their own knockoffs.
What blows my mind is they obviously have no problem having a different SKU, right? Because they got the Monstar that came out, which is huge compared to like the regular 7-inch figures. But then, do you see they got Snarf coming out, who's like this freaking big, like $55? Like, what the hell are you guys thinking? Like, that's just that's proof that they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're gonna make this stuff. People are gonna buy it, and they know they got people, which sucks because they have the market on this shit.
Only until they don't, though, is the thing. Like, not a market thing, but they lost the license potentially. Excuse me, for space flying boys, but then Silverhawks. But then, like, people are getting irritated enough, and then they can't commit to a line. So, like, okay, you're gonna do Robin Hood. You did 2 characters. Can you keep going, please? Maybe people are content with them or whatever, or maybe you'll get better at making them and then do like a re-release later down the road. That stuff happens all the time. But you did 2 figures, technically 3 if you count Sir Hiss coming in the box as an accessory. But where's Little John, the sheriff? I would love a posable action and figure of the sheriff. You could do Friar Tuck and then have like the 2 little mice from the church with the giant coin.
Yes, yeah.
It's
but
all
you
there.
Need Little John. You need Baloo.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
That's right.
And different characters.
It is
that's why I did air quotes.
They're
right?
totally different characters, not voiced by the same person.
Totally
not voiced by the same person. They got a hat. He's got a hat and a shirt.
And
Baloo definitely does not have either one of those things. So they are
Tailspin. He's got a hat and a shirt. Ooh, gotcha.
He's also got a plane, but we're not gonna get him. That's a whole different thing. That's a 3rd character. Don't even start.
The Sea Duck?
No,
shit. We watched way too many cartoons as kids. My God.
You say too many. I
enough.
just say we enjoyed ourselves.
We did.
That's right.
We did. That was the golden age. Golden age of everything.
We had Turtles. We had Silverhawks, Thundercats, Terminators.
I mean, this is exactly why Super 7 isn't making crappy versions of modern things. They're making crappy versions of our childhood. Like that's what sells. Which let me just say, like, I understand the methodology.
Where's the crappy?
With I understand their methodology with the waves, right? Like, oh, if we get a wave, we put one Ninja Turtle in this wave and one in that. Like, it spreads it out. It's longevity for the wave. But then you got an instance where their wave 1 of Silverhawks is in people's hands. Wave 2 should be shipping soon. I think they solicited wave 3. And now they haven't said anything about the next wave, and it's been a long time, which just feeds into the fact that people think they lost a license. All branding from Silverhawks is off their website.
Right.
And they gave everyone all the main cast except for Copper Kid. So imagine the people that didn't go BBTS where they could just cancel their order. They went directly to Super 7, bought it from them where they had to pay up front, and now they have an incomplete team, and they're never going to complete that team if the rumors are true. That's just horrible. Like, horrible. The amount of like anger that just like gets let out. It's like 1,000 people just cried out in anger all at once.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty interesting. And then obviously when people get upset and they sometimes decide to listen. So there's some recent conversations obviously around, well, I shouldn't say obviously, not everybody's up to speed on all this stuff, but the Rat King was announced as part of the Ninja Turtle wave that they were doing. So when the image first came up, Rat King was there and Karai was in the background. So she was included on all of them. It was 5 characters. And then, like, real quick, that got pulled down and it was just the Rat King. So she was removed. Then people were really, really upset that he was modeled off of they didn't know at the time, but modeled off of the Shredder's Revenge character and not off of the old toy.
Pretty boy.
Understandably upset because they wanted the vintage stuff. And this just changes that entire line. Kind of like you're saying, Copper Kid's gone, incomplete. This Rat King, not the same, it's incomplete. You know, maybe they like him and it's cool, but that's not why I was getting this line. I liked it because it was a new version of something. I already had Playmates. I don't need a copy of it. But they real quick were like, all right, well, instead, here's Karai. It's like, wait, did you guys know that this might happen? That people might really hate this thing, and if it's the case, you'll pull it down, you'll offer Karai. Because real quick, she was suddenly available to be part of the lineup. You know?
Too quick.
It's one of those things where, as far as I can tell, that's kind of what they do. They're like, we have these ideas and we've built them and we've got molds or whatever, and we've got these things. We're gonna do some of it and see how people react. And if we get bad feedback, we're gonna be like, okay, so what? Joking, we're over here, right? Like you guys were talking about with releasing small waves of Silverhawks. It's not like there's a whole bunch of them, right? It's not like there's 75 Silverhawks, right? Like there's only 10, 15 tops characters, like in the entire.
Okay. Characters, maybe. I was gonna say Silverhawks, no.
Right, like we're talking like 15 characters of like if you do everybody, right? Like that's it, right? Like I'm sure you could probably find obscure characters like, but that's it. Is like just do the thing, like do one, like okay, this is a wave. Like we're gonna give you all of them. Don't like piecemeal it. Don't be like you said with Robin Hood. Don't give us 2 and then see how those sell and decide to do more afterwards.
Right, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong there. One of those being nobody buys them because they don't know if you're going to make the other ones. Right?
Exactly.
If you can't commit and at least tell us, like, hey, we have plans of doing all of these. Look at, like, here's just old Disney cartoon screen grabs of all the characters we're going to do. Go low effort. We don't care.
Pipeline
just let us know that we can expect to be able to complete that line. But you have one random figure from all these different movies, right? Like Alice in Wonderland. Then you got the hippopotamus from whatever, Fantasia or something. And then whoever else was in that line. It's just like, these are super random. Obviously, you're not going to have like 1,000 things from Fantasia probably, but you could do a couple other things, I would guess. But yeah, you just get one thing. Is that the end of it? Are we never going to see anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's like, listen,
I'm
willing to commit, but promise
Robin
me
Hood.
a ring at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't expect a lot of people to go after the Robin Hood line, right? There's some nostalgia there, like for us in our age and stuff, but maybe not enough people were in love with it or seen it and stuff. It's just such an old movie and stuff. And that's probably why you don't see that really stuff historically. You don't really ever see it anywhere. I remember 10 years ago going into the Disney store and just being like, that's the only thing I want to look for, and not finding a single thing to do with Robin Hood in there. Just being like, oh man, it's just constantly the problem.
It has been. It like specifically or Robin Hood. That's always been one of my favorite movies. I recently rewatched it and I realized I still love that movie, right? Yeah. But that's it. Like you talk about the old toys, the Disney store. What they used to do is they used to give you, like, they would sell you a pack of like 10 figures from whatever movie, like, or very vividly. Like one of my friends was like obsessed with Aladdin. I mean, we all were at some point, but he was so obsessed with Aladdin. Like we went to the mall and like he bought like the set, and it was like Aladdin, Jasmine, Jafar, Iago, the Sultan, Genie, Raja, and Abu, and it was like, and I want to say there was even like a prison guard, right? but it was like a whole play set so you could actually, you know, do things. And that's really like, instead of doing it like a character from a movie at a time, do like 5 or 6 characters from one movie, and then be like Wave 2, Robin Hood 2, Electric
Yeah,
Boogaloo.
I'd be
Yeah.
all your sequels get the same title. I kind of want you to make movies now.
I think it was
it's
the
actually,
90s, but
sorry, Mike, you go.
no, I was gonna say I think it was the 90s, but I'm pretty sure that like Playmates or something did make Robin Hood like action figures from the cartoon. And I know they made like Beanie Babies because I had the Robin Hood and Little John when I was younger because like I was obsessed with that show, that movie. It's so good. But one of the weird ways my brain works, you know, I'll complain that that figure is not worth $55. But if they're like, hey, here's a 2-pack with Little John and it's $100, I'd probably be like, all right, I'll get that.
Well, Little John's really big.
But...
And it's kind of like if I take his hat and shirt off, I got 2 characters.
Yeah, right.
Because now I got Baloo. If I can get him into a plane, oh my god, it's 3 in 1.
And see, if Super 7 were smart, they would do that. So they could just like, hey, you know, change the clothes, give them like fabric clothes, and then they're like, all right, here's.
I think that would actually be like the ultimate, like the ultimate thing is like, no, we really did just like for $10 or $15, you get the Hawaiian shirt and the hat, like, right, like that's it. It's like you dress up the character.
No, they'd resell you the whole thing. They're gonna be, we got these idiots to buy the same figure 3 times.
Dude, listen. That is exactly how they work too, because they made that SpongeBob, which I also recently reviewed, and there are certain things in there, and you're like, okay, it feels incomplete, and the choices of the accessories are really strange, and it's like that really made the price like go up because of these accessories, but I don't really care about this gigantic bubble boy, so this giant piece of plastic just to pull on the one scene. And what do you want in there? A freaking Krabby Patty hat? Or Krusty Krab hat and a spatula.
Yeah.
Not in there. That's low effort. Put a magnet in his head. Small pieces of plastic. That should have been in there. And then they just announced this one where he gets a splinter in his thumb. So the tease picture was his thumb with a splinter in it. And everybody's like, oh, you know, they know the episode. And then the figure that comes out, $55. He's got his hand with the splinter in it. He's got a really gigantic thumb where it gets all swollen and gross. And then he's got skeleton arms and a skeleton head. And it's like, well, there's like no accessories in this guy. And he's still $55. And he doesn't have skeleton legs.
Geez.
He's just got normal bob legs. It's so stupid. Yeah. And a lot of the comments on my video were like, so wait a minute. They picked one of the worst episodes ever of SpongeBob, made a full figure out of it. And I was like, I don't even remember the episode, but these people are pretty passionate that it's not good.
Jeez. People must be buying this stuff because they keep getting licenses thrown at them. They have licenses for everything.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Do they have licenses for Alien?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Because they do the
reaction figures.
Reaction line.
Oh,
which is ridiculous.
They look like the old Kenner things.
Yeah.
3
actually kind of like
3 3/4 inch figures. Yeah, but they look cool. But 3 3/4 inch figures with 5 points of articulation, and they charge $18 for them. Like they're smoking something. Like that's ridiculous. Like I would own some of those if they weren't that expensive.
Yeah.
You know. Meanwhile, Hasbro's doing the same thing with their Superpowers line, and they're charging, I think, like $12, which is even a stretch, in my opinion, for that.
Listen, as much as I get mad about Super 7, I hate Hasbro as a company.
It's fun.
Get something
because you're not the first person to go on a rant about
right here.
that.
Look at him.
The Blob,
the Blob, and the Rogue up there.
Don't look at everything behind me.
But I get so mad about them. And then today they announced the new Black Widow, and she comes with all these accessories, alternate hairstyles, freaking guns with effects and stuff. And I'm just like, so you guys remember how to do accessories? Why can't I get a force push hand with my Luke Skywalker? You know, he's just got.
I think
he's got grippy hands. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like the departments need to communicate better. because like I'll agree. Like I look at like the Marvel Legends, and the only Marvel Legends I really have, I like X-Force. That's always been my bread and butter. That and Cable. So any Marvel Legends that comes out that's a Cable figure or an X-Force figure, I buy it. So that's all I really have. But I toyed around with getting the Astonishing team because that kind of was around the same time as Uncanny X-Force. And the Cyclops just came out. And I'm like, it's $25 for this? Like, you get nothing with it. But then you look at the G.I. Joe Classified line, which I got the G.I. Joe Classified line, and they got accessories coming out of their butt. Like, they're doing a fantastic job with that.
You're finding
but
some
then,
weird Joes, man.
But then,
GIs
Star
and
Wars
gastrointestinal.
Yeah. How do you think they get them across enemy lines?
Yeah. But then you got, like you said, Star Wars, right? I'm very limited with my Star Wars stuff too. I'm an 80s baby. I grew up on Return of the Jedi, so Ewoks are my thing. I like Ewoks, so I'm buying the Black Series Ewoks. And the same thing, you get something this big with a staff or a spear, and that's $25. And it's like, you got to be kidding me! This is a little ridiculous.
But you bought
so I think the departments just need to like talk to each other. And I get licensing fees, right? They got to pay license for Marvel. They got to pay license for Star Wars. But
everything they sell has a license, and it's all Disney at this point. And then, they're billions of dollars. They sell Nerf and all kinds of other stupid crap. Like, money's not a concern for them. They can do whatever they need to do. I mean, exactly.
They own properties that they're doing nothing with. Like, I don't know how many people I've talked to that want them to do a modern mask line, even if it's a 6-inch line, sprinkling in with G.I. Joe or whatever. Like, so many people I know want that, and they keep renewing trademarks, and they have the license for it because it's their IP. Exactly. So do something with them. People are dying for it.
It's dead.
You know what? I know what's going to happen. We already have. So Hasbro has already put out My Little Pony magic cards and Transformers magic cards, and we got Lord of the Rings coming out. We've already had D&D sets. That's it. I'm getting mask magic cards, guys. Got to play Magic with Mask. Done. Nope. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. They just throw everything at Magic, and that's pissing. That's a whole different argument for a whole different day.
I just wonder if they're going to lean into their the unified universe like they've been talking about for forever.
We did that in the 80s. It was called throwing them all in the wrestling ring and making them battle each other. Maybe I just did
not in the big screen though, right? Not in the big screen.
I did that on my I did that in my bedroom floor while watching Doug and Rugrats. Is we had massive battle arenas with all the toys, and everybody fought. My stuff is definitely not in mint condition. Still have it, but it's not in mint condition.
But I mean, like, did you guys hear about the after credit scene for the new Transformers movie?
No.
Can I guess?
Is it Mask?
Can I?
No, go ahead.
No, it's not going to be it would be more likely the Mask than it is they're going to bring
somebody stop me.
I was going to say, what about that movie with Cher? Like, is it that Mask?
Oh man,
there's so many crossover jokes and I can't land on one yet. Like, anyway, so there's I'm gonna guess, spoilers, anybody watching this moment, skip ahead.
All right, give it a pause.
30 seconds. G.I. Joe. That's my guess. And okay. Yeah, it makes the most sense.
The kid gets recruited by G.I. Joe at the end.
Oh boy.
In the after credit scene.
Oh boy. So you've seen it, or you just know the end scene?
Oh, it's been leaked. Been leaked. I'm going to see the movie tomorrow, but it's been leaked.
All right, we'll go in there with the expectations of Alien versus Predator that I had years ago, because I think it's not going to be good.
Listen,
a couple friends have posted on Twitter. One guy was like, "It's super fun. It's just a crazy movie. It's just something to watch and be entertained with." And then the other friends are like, "It's worse than the old ones." And I'm like, "Oh no!"
Listen, they're giving me this guy Unicron, and he looks like this guy Unicron, so I'm already happy. right? It's
All
not
right.
it's not spikes coming out of planet Earth and oh my god, Unicron is Earth like they did in the last night bullshit. It's a planet eating planet. Like, okay, if I don't see him transform, I'm not going to be upset. I would love to see him transform, but I'll be happy just that he's in it. They've already done enough damage to the franchise that where if they don't reboot it, I'm never going to be happy, right? So they finally give us a Porsche and it's fucking Mirage, not Jazz. Like, and Wheeljack's a freaking VW bus. And in his robot mode, he has suspenders. Like, come on.
I would. So
stupid.
It is.
Your friend John, your friend hit it right on the head, right? They are not meant. Everybody who's ever complained about the Transformers movies, right? Like, you hate it because it's nothing like what you wanted, right? Or the people who went into it as like casual fans were like, I'm going to go see it, and they're like, well, that wasn't good. I'm like, well, what did you go in expecting? Like, I've had these actual arguments. People are like, well, I expected the acting to be better. You expected the acting to be better in a Transformers movie? You went in to go see giant robots fighting giant robots.
To do a good job?
Right? Like, when the fourth... like
Transformers?
It was the fourth one. When the fourth one with Marky Mark that came out, everybody complained about it. They're like, it was horrible. I was like, Marky Mark is not an amazing actor. Like, he's made better based off of who's around him. Like, but he's also he's playing a weird tech wizard guy in a Transformers movie. Do you expect freaking Emmy nominated acting here? I didn't. I went in to go see robots fighting robots. Guess what I got? I got hour and a half of robots fighting robots. I was happy. If you go in with expectations of you're going to watch a Transformers movie to see robots fighting robots, you're going to have a good time. Like, because that's what they do.
That's what I'm expecting, right?
Right?
Like, Bumblebee is my favorite movie out of all of the Transformers movies so far. And that's because the first 10 minutes were fucking perfect. Why can't they just give us a 2-hour-long movie of that? Yes, they were. Like, Akka amazing.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Another time because she's in both of those movies, isn't she?
That's the point. See? We're back to the IMDb wizard.
Although I would love if John Michael Higgins was in a Transformer movie. I think that'd be fantastic because he is amazing.
Wait, who's he?
He's the co-announcer at the competitions.
Yeah, that'd be great. Now I'm in. Now you sold me. It can be the movie, can be whatever. Just let him be the lead.
He's pretty good in everything he's in.
He is.
I enjoy him. Best in Show. You ever seen that movie?
Oh, of course. So good. I love that stuff. I love the mockumentary stuff, and I love most of the people in that movie are just fantastic anyway. Oh,
speaking of mockumentary, I think it's been an hour and a half, and I think we've got like 10 minutes of aliens talk. But that's okay. This is fun. Show on Amazon Prime called Jury Duty. Have you heard of it?
Does it star Pauly Shore?
No.
Then I don't want it.
It picks up where he left off. It's a direct sequel.
All right, perfect. Jury Duty 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, it is. There it is.
I can't. It's the most ridiculous name to a sequel movie ever.
It is.
It is. John, do you know that Electric Boogaloo is actually the sequel name to a movie from the 80s, right? Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
I just put it on everything. No.
So Jury Duty, it's pretty much a mockumentary thing of a trial. But the thing is everyone involved is an actor except for one person that's on the jury. He thinks it's all real.
That's like that movie Joe Schmo.
It's like the TV show Joe Schmo. Yeah,
Joe Schmo.
It's so good. Like, I love Joe Schmo, and the first season, the second season was trash. But then
because it was already done. It's like you can't really pull it off.
Yeah, But now that like, and one of the guys in the jury is Jason Marsden.
Yes.
But he's playing himself, right? He's like, oh man, like, yeah, I'm a famous actor. I got called in for jury duty. And it's all about like him just like trying to get out of jury duty and like trying to waive his responsibilities as like in jury duty and stuff. And like they use his fame as like a plot point where like the paparazzi shows up. So because of that, the whole jury needs to be sequestered and have their phones taken away. So that's how like they get the guy who's a real person into isolation and build on the fantasy and stuff, and not the fantasy but the the ruse, and it's so good. It's so good. You gotta watch it.
Does he take his glasses off or sunglasses off at one point and pretend he's Cyclops? Because that would make it better. I haven't seen it.
But the bailiff keeps calling him X-Men. He's like, they're like, X-Men, get over here, pay attention.
All right, come on.
And what's great is
the Office, I think.
What's great is the I don't know who's making this, but the guy who's oblivious to everything, like that's getting the
real person
played on him, the real person, he like doesn't recognize James Marsden, and James Marsden's like, oh, he's like, I was in X-Men, I was in The Notebook, I was in Sonic the Hedgehog, and the kid goes, oh, I heard Sonic the Hedgehog sucked, like right to his face.
But has he seen Sex Drive? Because he's up in that movie.
He comes back later and he's like, dude, so I figured out who you are. And he's like, you're one of my favorite movies of all time, Sex Drive. And then he pulls out a DVD and has him sign it and stuff. It's so good.
That movie was so ridiculous.
It's fantastic, especially Jason Marsden's character in it.
Oh yeah, he's so good. The fun part about it is the unrated director's cut. Like so it's funny because the director comes on screen. He's like, look, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this because it's not anything adding to the movie. So
it's just naked girls. It's just the movie with like naked girls.
In front of the movie, it's just like naked girls on like the side of the screen.
Yeah,
and they like walk in front of the movie. You're like, what?
Like they're sitting in the mall, and then all of a sudden, like a girl just walks by naked, like that. That's the director's cut.
Like it was digitally imposed on top of the movie. So they had fun with it.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But if you like the mockumentary stuff, like The Office, Parks and Rec, and all that, you gotta watch Jury Duty. It's good.
Yeah, it's definitely on the list. I've had some friends that are huge fans, like been binge watched in like a night or two.
It's only 8 episodes, which is easily consumable.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot right now. 8 to 10 episodes. Yeah. That's it.
We were kids. We got like 64 episodes in one season.
Transformers, and it's like seasons and like 98 episode are not really.
Yeah, and then they pull it back and like 24, which all right, 24 is pretty good, and then they're like 12, and they're like 4. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, I get that I'm not going to get 60 episodes, but give me like 12. I think 12 is respectable. That's enough to get you engaged and kind of invested.
I kind of dig the 20-ish episode seasons of shows, right? Like it's the problem is they do it like they weirdly break it up around Christmas time. So it's like you got like 8 episodes, and then there's like a Christmas break, and then there's like another break afterwards, and you're like, all right.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Jonathan. We didn't talk much aliens, but this was a lot of fun. A lot of
it's okay. It's just
a lot of memories, a lot of topics.
The topic to get somebody to come in and listen to 3 guys hang out.
There you go. Yes. Tell everyone what you got going on, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Oh man, I've always got something going on. It's always something new, whether it's these arcades that I made back here. I made Larry the Looter, if you're a fan of The Simpsons, so I made a custom design there. And I'm going to talk about all these things, but I already sold out of them. So maybe if you stay involved with what I'm doing, there's going to be some other alternate version that I'll make in the future. But it's not just a channel about unboxing stuff and talking about news about toys and things like that. And most important thing that I have going on my channel right now, to me, the thing that I would stop everything and just do this every time, is the game show that I did which I am just calling because the channel is Nostalgia Unboxed. The show is The Price is Boxed, and it's basically just I bring a couple guests on, I give them a figure, I let them know when it came out, what it sold for retail, if there's anything specific, like if it's an exclusive that came out at Comic-Con or something, and then ask them to guess what they think the price is today, and then the closest wins. It's okay if you go under or over. But that show was super fun to do. It was a lot of work on my end afterwards, but it's a blast. And that, I think, is hopefully, I want to say, that's the future of the channel. But we'll see. Maybe not. I'm open.
That sounds fun.
So by the time you guys see this, I could be doing something totally different. I'm always doing something new. I cannot stay single-minded track. I'm always making something, dude. Like, creating stuff and selling stuff that are kind of one-off things. I don't know how familiar you guys are, but I did like the little baby NECA turtles. I made boxes for those things with plastic windows and all this stuff. So I designed it, drew it by hand, and then cut them up and folded them so they look like legit packages that you could individually put the turtles in.
Super cool.
Such a weirdo, man. Okay,
No,
that's weird. Nick, I see you looking at me going. I see Nick looking at me going, why did we get this guy on? He's such a weirdo. He's making boxes for his baby toys.
So good.
Listen, I'm the guy. I never had to get rid of any of my toys. My mom is I've talked about it. My family is has hoarding tendencies. I have all of my toys from when I was a child. I sold 3 He-Man action figures when I was a child at a yard sale. Immediately realized I didn't want to do that with anything else. In fact,
horrible.
It was horrible because I had people who were like, "Yeah, I want to buy them." I'm like, I don't really feel like selling that one right now. And they're like, "Oh, okay." So I'm like a kid, and people are trying to buy my toys at this yard sale so I can go buy more toys, and I'm like, I can't sell this. So I literally packed them all up and brought them in the house. It was He-Man. Nice. It was all my action figures from when I was a kid. So I could probably go buy more turtles. I don't remember what I was trying to go buy. So I've got them all. But the boxes, the organization, the weird things where you're so I need, you made little boxes for the mini turtles for the NECA figures. Is that what right? As you're saying that, I'm I know there's a guy on the internet that sells tiny turtles or whatever it is.
Yeah, these.
Those are gorgeous, right?
So good.
And the actual production ones, the only thing I have left over are prototypes. It's I made them, I sold them, and then didn't make myself a set. But I even cut out the plastic windows from other figure boxes. I would pull the plastic windows out of them, cut them up, and then stick them in, glue them in. They have little holes in them for the base so they can actually stand up and not fall over when you put them in there. But so I had to do all the stuff on the box. I drew the images on the front. They all have color-coded slips to match on the inside.
Oh, nice.
So that's awesome.
People are loving them, man. And now, well, but that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that stuff all the time. And people are like, can I get more of these?
Boxes for the NECA VHS tapes, which is brilliant.
God.
So the NECA Turtle, the movie Turtles and stuff, there's a set that comes with little VHS tapes, 1/12 scale VHS tapes, and he made boxes, VHS boxes, from the slide. Look at this, it's so good.
So NECA made these to come with the Toon figures.
Oh my god!
And then I figured out how to scale down actual VHS boxes. And then they fit because it's not the same proportions of a normal VHS. So you can't just take it, shrink it down, and make it. So I had to make a whole bunch of prototypes to figure it out. But yeah, it folds down. There's a flap and stuff. And I have I don't know, probably at least 30 different movies that I've made. They're all, you can't see them, but they're on a little tiny shelf back there.
See, those are the super cool thing. Those things impress the crap out of me. The weird one-offs, the that attention to detail stuff is like, I'm as it goes on, it's a Tata Power Pad. So I don't buy a lot of the figures. Like, I wait for them to get clearanced out, and I'm like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Like, there's reaction figures. I ended up finding a whole bunch of them on clearance at Target for like $3 to $5, and I was like, I can do that. But that attention to detail stuff that makes something else just seem that much cooler is where like my head goes. Like, I have custom printed like Blu-ray covers, like people who like redid the art on them, and I'm like, that's way cooler than the piece of crap that they gave us for whatever movie, right?
So much stuff just fell over. All the little VHS went just to grab the thing that was on the front. So the Larry the Looter is from like an early episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Where Bart goes into the arcade, and since the internet's images are pretty low res, the good thing is there's a pretty similar cut to this that you can see from the episode. I changed some things. I had to add a lot of windows and some extra rooftop stuff, add the logo, and then add in all the stuff to the front, because you never really see the front. You kind of see something that kind of looks like this. So there's like a VR game of The Simpsons that you can go play this game in the VR as well. So there's like a few extra pieces I could see.
Yeah.
But
That's
essentially
awesome.
you had to just draw it all from scratch. So the resolution was there. So yeah, it's like now I have this thing that nobody else has made yet. And these are, if you're not familiar, these are just Hasbro's Fortnite arcades. They're super basic. They're real stupid looking. It's like a dance arcade thing. It doesn't make sense. I have no idea why they made them. And there's weapons inside. But people are taking these things and they're putting like X-Men and the Simpsons games and stuff, which I did. They're up here. But I started doing that and like taking the actual games that people have made from the 80s and stuff that are nostalgic. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to make some of those things. I had to do some custom work because some, it's like to fit to this doesn't make sense all the time. But then I saw that other people had already done it, and I was like, oh, well, this is stupid. I don't need to make X-Men and the Simpsons and stuff. So then it was, how do I make stuff that nobody else is doing? Start thinking about these kind of one-off scenarios. Like in the Ninja Turtles, there's Tempestra. She's an arcade game that they play. And the side of the graphics, there's really no imagery of the arcade. So I drew one up completely just from scratch, basically created this whole arcade, this Tempestra's Revenge from that cartoon. So it's like, okay, nobody else has done that. It's all essentially original. Obviously, she's not original concept from me, but the arcade is original. So it's like, all right, now I'm playing in this space. Now I'm having fun. So I'm always pushing myself to do something that like other people aren't doing. And that is how I have fun. But I just can't stop. It's never ending.
And that's
but the stuff's amazing, right? Like that's the stuff's so fun. The little things that you're doing, like that are just so simple, but it's attention to detail and that little extra caveat on top of it that just turns a little dinky prop into something that's so much better. That's super cool. I wish I had more than that stuff so I could buy the VHS stuff. I don't have any.
Yeah, they work. Yeah. The VHS that I designed, they work well as a 12 scale, like 1/12 scale. And I designed them so that you can print them and just fold the bottoms in. So it just looks like there's a tape. It's just a black section. So if you don't have the neck of tapes, because most people only have like 5 of those tapes, and I've made way more VHS. But yeah, they scale down. You can cut them and just glue them up. But some of the stuff, like the little baby turtle boxes, like I could only make a set of 25 because it was so much work. Like, I kid you not, this was the most extensive amount of time spent cutting these things, folding them, gluing them, cutting the plastic windows out. And then that was 4 turtles plus a baby shredder box for 25 people, 125 boxes I was making. It was just like, I don't ever want to do this again. But people, only 25 people got them. You know, there's people are like
all that work.
still asking me if they're available or if I'm going to do it again. Like people really wanted them. If I could find a way to produce them like more like where I'm not doing it, then I would make them all day long.
Not quite mass producing, but at least you're not sitting there cutting out a bunch of cardboard.
Yeah, because at that point it's not fun. You know, it's a chore for you, and that's not going to make you inspired to do more things like that. So
that's it. That's why we're not getting
the whole time the entire time I was putting those things together and then completing it, all I could think about was the next thing I was going to do. All right, well, what's the next design thing that I'm going to come up with? And then do this all over again. And then be mad that I spent this much time putting it together.
Just make other people put it together. Don't worry. I'm sure they won't complain too much.
Then I'm getting into my profit margins, baby.
Yeah, there you go. The labor is where you get the big profit. But
that's right.
All right, Jonathan. We're keeping you. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, man. This is super fun.
And that, folks, brings us to the end. Thank you for tuning into Your Childhood's Trash. We hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you liked the topic and it brought back some memories, hit the like button and comment letting us know. Don't forget to connect with us on all the socials and check YCWcast.com for any new ventures. See you on the next episode. Same trash time, same trash channel.
You were so excited. Even on here, you were like, I got this thing and I did it and I made it myself and I had to cut a little... Like the way you talk about it, like that was... Like
he pulled out his wallet and we thought he was going to show us pictures of his kids because he was so excited. But he's like, no, look at this little Ninja Turtle bot.